Good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Glow, Sisters in Scent Firefly Chats. You are joining us for our, I think it's our 13th show, right, ladies?
Yep, 13.
Woo! Wow, our 13th show. You are joining myself and all of my fabulous co-hosts. We have Dawn. Say hello, Dawn.
Hi.
Edie Ann.
Yay!
And we have to congratulate Edie. She promoted to Superstar Director.
Yay!
Internet high five. Congratulations,
Thank
Edie.
you.
How does it feel?
It's pretty amazing, but it still hasn't sunk in yet, I don't think. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm. I remember that feeling. It didn't feel real until I went to my first event.
I still feel like I'm playing house.
I know, right?
We're so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge honor. Super awesome. Next we have... What?
Can I hashtag this really fast? I'm pretty excited, though, that in 13 episodes, 3 of us have promoted to Superstar Director.
That's pretty good.
I know, right? Isn't that
We didn't
nuts?
have any. So, yeah, the other 2 were staring at you. I'm just kidding. We love you. I just think it's pretty cool.
It's going to happen.
The power of community does sometimes, I feel like.
And next we have the amazing Jamie Solins.
Hello.
And last but not least, Miss Stainbrook herself.
Shoving my face full of ice cream.
Eating her ice cream. I'm jealous. I was eating cotton candy before this started. So,
so you're right.
Yeah, there's never a candy shortage in the Farner household.
This might be a really, really intense glow with us being really hyper.
I'm having cappuccino.
Hi. Oh my gosh. So we are so excited that you've joined us. We've got 20 people live. Be sure to share this link. Post it on your team page if you like. If you like us and you think we're a bunch of dorks, then I guess you just watch it, But if you like watching The Glow and you want your teams to partake as well, please share the link. We're more than happy to share this information with everybody. So thanks for joining us. First, I want to make a couple of announcements. We've had some big things come up just in the last 24 hours. So a couple things I want to say. Please, please, please make sure that you're always checking your emails that you get from Scentsy. There's so much important information shared via email. If Scentsy's sending an email about it, you need to know about it. So make sure you check your email. In fact, this evening we got a big email talking about changes with Warmer of the Month. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around understanding it all. So I'm not going to sit here and actually explain it or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you to go to your email and read those details about the changes that are happening with Warmer of the Month. Also, we received an email talking about a huge, super, super exciting PWS or personal website only sale. So if you are not enrolled in a personal website, everybody come on, do the finger. You should have your PWS all year long. But now that there is a sale going on that's PWS only, you really need to enroll. So go to your account tab, enroll in a PWS to make sure that you can market this really exciting sale up to 80% off, buy one, get one on Buddies. Everybody gets an ornament, super exciting stuff. Also in other Scentsy family news, we are halfway through the incentive trip. I know at the beginning of the incentive, we did a video and talked about how to create a plan to earn the trip. We really want to see you earn a trip. We want to party with you in Punta Cana, or we want to, check out all the awesome animals in Africa with you. We want to go on safari with you. So really, now is a really good time to be looking at your plan and trying to figure out if you need to make some adjustments. Just because you created a plan and that plan isn't working doesn't mean you should give up and think you're not going to earn the trip. Sometimes your plans need tweaking. My plan needed tweaking. Did any of your plans need tweaking? Sometimes it just doesn't work out exactly as you thought it would work, but that doesn't mean it can't work. So look at your plan, don't get discouraged, and maybe make some adjustments as needed. So those are some Scentsy news updates that I wanted to give you. Tonight, we are going to be talking about working with and mentoring your teams. I want you guys to remember, so often we hear new leaders say things like, how do I motivate my team? I can't motivate my team. How do I motivate my team? Well, you can't. Is that a cow?
I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to be that loud. Okay, I'm going to put it down.
Is that Eliza's toy or something?
It's a book. Yeah, we just got it.
Noisy
I
farm.
just opened the box.
That's cute.
I didn't realize it was going to be that loud. I'm sorry.
I should just make the mouth. Oh my gosh, that was funny. So what I was going to say is you cannot motivate your teams. So don't get caught up in that headspace and thinking, I need to motivate. How do I motivate? How do I motivate? You can't motivate people. Their motivation is going to be internal. But what we can do is inspire people. And that's what we're hoping to share with you tonight, is the ways that we choose to try to inspire our teams, encourage our teams. And I think first, let's go ahead and start with new superstar director, Edie Ann, because she's going to be talking about utilizing their why as a means to inspire and keep them engaged. So Edie, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay. So I think and thank you for letting me start, because I think that it kind of sets the basis for everything that happens in our career when we can determine what our why is, because ultimately our why is what's going to push us forward. It's what's going to give us the motivation, the self-motivation to move forward or to do the things that you need to do in order to get to where you want to be in the business. I'll tell you, if I had not had a strong enough why, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be at Superstar Director. I wouldn't have all of the things that I have now, and I wouldn't have such a big team either. And so for me, it's a blessing to be able to help others figure out what their why is. And I think that it's something that you really need to tune in on. And I always tell people that a why is not a thing. Your why isn't going to be a thing. Your why is going to ignite some kind of an emotion. It's going to, you've probably heard it said, your why will make you cry. It doesn't have to make you cry, and it doesn't have to be a sad cry. It could potentially be a really happy cry. It could be just a feeling of elation. It could feel that you have succeeded, that you've accomplished something, and it really depends on what you need as a person. So everybody's why is going to be different, and your why is going to change throughout this journey. So if you get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I've actually accomplished that and I feel that way and this is pretty good, so now what? I think that it's really important for you to dig deep. So one of the things that I do with people, and you can do this with yourself, you can do this with your team, it's always best to actually do it with somebody else, because they're going to challenge you to dig a little bit deeper than if you were with yourself. A lot of people, you'll ask them, well, what's your why? Why are you doing Scentsy? And they'll say, well, I really love candles, or I, want to work at home with my kids, or I want to meet more people, or I want to travel. Those are really good things to get to your why. And so when I tell people that's not your why, they kind of look at me like, okay, then what is? So my question to you would be, if you want to stay home with your kids, what is that going to do for you? Why is that important for you to stay home with your children? And so once you start looking at that answer, okay, and in some cases it could be because I want to be the person that welcomes them home when they come off the school bus. That security of me being there when they come home, I think is important. And so then you would say, well, why is it important? Why is it important for you to be home when your kids get off the bus? And so the more you answer, the more you dig deep, and you keep asking yourself, why is that important? So if someone comes to me and says, well, it's because I love candles, I would say, well, why is it important that you love candles? What is it about the candles that you like? And so someone might say, well, it's a nice scent, it'll relax me, or sometimes it makes me happy. Well, then why are those things, why are those specific scents so important for you? Why is it important to feel happy? Why is it important to feel relaxed? And you know, the funny thing is ultimately when we dig down deep enough, if it's someone who has children, a lot of times the why will come down to the kids and what it means to be a good parent to them and how it feels to be that role model or that support for those children. That can usually become pretty emotional when you come down to it. And a lot of times it's because either you weren't treated that way, or you didn't have something when you were growing up, or you felt belittled, or maybe you weren't enough, or I mean, there's always going to be something that you felt that you don't want your kids to go through, that you don't want your kids to feel. And so that's when we start to build on that emotional thing. And so when you find that feeling, that emotion within yourself or within your team, that's when you're going to find that motivation and that inner drive that's going to push you so hard that when I say things like say yes and figure it out later, that's the reason. Because I know what my why is. If you know what your why is and it pushes you, you're just going to find yourself doing the things that you need to do to get to that emotion, to get to that feeling. And so that's why I feel it's extremely important for people to figure out what their why is. And as a leader, you should be able to help them with that. Now, granted, your why can be really, really personal, and I get that. And you may not be willing to share with somebody what your why truly is. But if you can get to a point, at least, that you're thinking and say, okay, I get what you're saying now. And then think about it for a little while, you'll feel emotion. You'll get the shivers, you'll get goosebumps, your eyes will start to well up. There's going to be a really strong seated feeling inside of you that is going to emerge. And that's a pretty powerful place to be. And I love getting people to that place. It's funny because I've had sales training in the past, Stephen Covey to name one. And one of the things that they call it is peeling back the onion. And I just think that's kind of, I don't like the terminology, but it actually makes sense that we are peeling back our layers, our onion peels, to get to that core of what is actually driving us and what is actually, pulling us forward is how I see it, and keeping that forward momentum going. In sales training, they talk about peeling back the onion for your customers. If they're going to buy a TV, you want to say, well, what kind of TV are you going to want to watch? What kind of shows are you going to want to watch? And who's going to be watching it? Where are you going to be sitting? And those type of things. So they're peeling back the onion to figure out what kind of TV this person needs. What we're doing is peeling back our own personal onion to be able to find out what is our core being, what is driving us to be the best that we can possibly be. And when you determine what that is, it can be pretty darn powerful, and it can push you pretty hard. And I've seen huge breakthroughs with people that didn't quite know what their why was, and they were just kind of fumbling around with their business and trying to do what they needed to do, because they knew the steps to get to the why, that there's certain goals that you can reach to get to your why. They knew what those goals were, whether it was booking parties or recruiting people. But the emotional side of it wasn't pushing them far enough past those levels to say, okay, well, what do I need to do now that I've recruited people? What do I need to do now that I've booked some parties? Is it just this monotonous thing that just keeps happening over and over again? Well, sometimes we do get stuck in that rut, but it's only because we don't know what our why is. Because when your why pulls you, there's nothing that can stop you. And so that's a really important place to be. And so I'm going to challenge everybody that's watching this tonight or on the replay that you really dig deep and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I part of Sensi? Why do I want to be a leader? Why do I want to help others? And when you answer that question, ask yourself why that's important. And just keep going, asking yourself why, and why, until you get to a point inside of you where it's just it overtakes you. And you'll know when you get there. So I hope everybody can find time to do that, because I think it's really important to not only yourself as a leader or as a consultant, even if you don't have a team, but to be able to help others get there too. I hope you found that helpful.
That was awesome. I had to step out for a second because my dogs were like jumping at the doors trying to come in here. So I missed a little bit of it. But what I heard really connected with me. And I think we can't do our job as sponsors if we don't know where our team members want to go. And so I tell my people right off the bat, like, I can't do my job to my fullest extent like I want to. I can't serve you as well as I want to if I don't know what you want, because my job is to know where you want to go and show you the most direct path to get there. So the more real you are with me and the more clear you are with me about what you truly want from your business, the better I can do at helping you get there, And
yeah,
I think a lot of people struggle with being vulnerable about why they're here and what they want. But it's really, really important. And we've got to, like you said, encourage them to dig deep and be real with us, because if they're not, we can't help them get where they want to go. And then they're just going to be doing it on their own, which is not nearly as fun.
And you know what, Katie, the beauty of this is, even if I don't know what they want out of this and where that emotion is being drawn from, as long as they know, they're going to propel themselves. So it's almost as if, the leadership is needed to guide them and to give them the tools to be able to reach those goals along the way. But ultimately, I don't have to know what their why is, but as long as they do, and it's strong enough to pull them, then that's when we know that it's working. As a leader, you can find the people that don't know what their why are, because they kind of get stuck in that rut and they kind of spin their wheels and they kind of make excuses. A lot of people make excuses when they don't really know what they're doing or why they're doing it, right? So I think that that's a big part of that as well. So yes, I agree that if I know what your why is, I can help you a lot more. But if you know what your why is, by all means, take off, because you're going to be doing a lot of great things knowing what you need to be doing.
Yep. Super, super important. Okay, so I think just based on what we're each going to be covering tonight, I really think talking about coaching calls is going to be a perfect fit to talk about next. And that's actually what I have planned to talk to you guys about. It's so ironic to me that I'm talking about coaching calls, because 6 months ago, I wasn't offering coaching calls. And I was doing, in my opinion, my downline, my team, my leaders, a disservice. And the reason I wasn't doing coaching calls is because of my own internal fears. If you know anything about my personal story, you know that I really struggled to be willing to sponsor people. I turned my first 3 recruits away. I told them not to join my team. I didn't know what I was doing. I had experience prior that did not make me want to be a leader. And so I still struggle with that internal voice that I have to silence. And so for me, putting myself out there to do a coaching call was very, very intimidating. And I realized that, you know what? I have to do it. It's going to help other people. So I need to just be uncomfortable, because it's more important that I'm helping other people. And so about 6 months ago, I really made that change to start offering coaching calls to all of my up and coming leaders, anyone who was in a director approach program that I have, and my directors. And so we call it a business analysis call is what we call it. And this is something that I offer every single month to, again, up and coming leaders, directors, things like that. And this is people that are in my front line or in my team, where maybe there's someone in between that person and me that's not really working their business, just kind of there. I'll offer it to them as well if they're a mover and a shaker. So it's not just necessarily your front line. You'd really want to offer coaching calls or business analysis calls to anyone within your team that's really motivated and is communicating with you. So with coaching calls, you want to really make it as personal as possible. So you want to be on FaceTime with them, or a Google Hangout with them, or you want to at least get on a phone call. A business analysis is not something, a coaching call is not something that you want to do with texting or private message. You want to really, truly connect with that person. We learned at Summit that relationships plus results equals retention. We work so hard to bring people into this business, to sponsor people, to get them trained, to get them off the ground. And if we are not focusing on the things that are going to make them stay, we're doing our teams and those people a disservice. So we've got to focus on relationships plus results. And that is exactly what coaching calls is going to give you. The way I like to set it up is once a month. So at the beginning of the month, we schedule that month's coaching call. And it's usually a 30-minute or less thing. Like, we make it very quick. So we're just on and off. And it really has been working out very well. So I just want to encourage you not to be intimidated, because so many times you just feel like you haven't done enough yourself to coach other people. But that's just a lie. That is not true. You might not have achieved this thing over here that you think you need to have achieved, but that does not make you inadequate to do a coaching call. So don't believe those lies. So you want to utilize reports. We have amazing reports in the workstation under the performance tab. You want to utilize those reports to look at their performance and their team's performance, to really identify those areas of strength and weakness. When you are on the call with them, of course, you want to ask them how they see their business, where they see their own strengths and weaknesses. This allows you the opportunity to see how clearly they're looking at their own business and see if they're already identifying their own weaknesses. Because that's really, I think, the most difficult part of a coaching call is identifying someone else's weakness. I mean, you don't want to be like, this is where you stink. This is where your business is weak. You don't want to come across like that. So it's always best to start off by asking them where they saw their strengths and their weaknesses within their team and their personal business last month. And oftentimes they're going to put out there the weakness that you already saw, allowing you the opportunity to offer those solutions and not have been the one who pointed the finger and pointed it out, right? So that's always great. So when you maybe are not getting much feedback from them, maybe they're like, oh, I'm really not sure, I think we did a pretty good job last month, I got paid at title, or, maybe they're real casual about it. And you see some things that you really want to point out. Always start off with their strengths. Always, always, always start off by praise and recognition and telling them what's going right, what's going well in their business. You always want to start off on a high note, in my opinion. When it comes time for the part that can be uncomfortable, maybe they didn't point out something that you think needs to be addressed for a weakness. So what I usually do is, I took this from Laura Godwin. She shared this at Summit. She said, may I be your coach for a moment? May I stop being your bestie for a moment and just be your coach? Or may I coach you for a moment? And I think that's the perfect way to make it clear that this is nothing personal. This is me trying to help you truly be your best and achieve the things you want to achieve. So ask to be their coach. Ask to give them that advice. And if they really don't want to hear it, they'll tell you, And so it's really just that perfect segue. So discuss solutions for areas where you see potential growth. Like, you don't want to say, well, your recruiting was down. You want to say something along the lines of, I noticed that your recruiting wasn't quite as high as it had been the month prior. Did you see that maybe you weren't focusing on recruiting as much? Or, what do you see that might have been the catalyst for that type of reaction? So finding ways to offer those solutions and brainstorm solutions for those areas of potential growth or areas of weakness in their business. Just like you are doing coaching calls with your movers and shakers, you want to make sure that they're doing that within their own teams. So use that drill into downline report. Make sure you're looking at their team and each of the individuals on their team, looking for movers and shakers and bringing those up to that leader. Not that they don't already know You know, if they've got a team of 5 or 10 or 20, of course they know who their movers and shakers are. But it's important for you to praise that person as well, and point that person out to them and say, wow, I see this person's doing that. That's great. They love the opportunity to talk up someone in their downline. So always make sure to discuss the movers and shakers in their own team and ask them how their coaching calls are going with those people. You don't want the coaching calls to stop with that person. If that person's building a team, you want to ensure that they are having those conversations with any of their movers and shakers as well. Always set goals. You always want to end your coaching call with some type of call to action or challenge or goal for that person. And this is their own goal that they're setting. I'm not saying you should be telling them, hey, you should recruit 5 people this month. If they want to promote to director in 6 months, if they want to promote to director by the end of the incentive trip and they have a team of 10 right now, then a goal of recruiting 5 people would be a good goal. So work with them on establishing goals. And if they're setting a goal that you think is not quite up to par with what their overall goal is, if they're setting a challenge for themselves that you think is a little weak, say, you know what, I think based on what you want to achieve from your business in the time frame that you're looking to, I think we could actually up that a little bit. There's nothing wrong with making that kind of a suggestion and telling them, you know, it's ultimately your decision. This is your business, whatever you think is going to be appropriate for you this month, but I really think you could do it. I really think you could get those 5 recruits this month. If you set a goal of having 15 conversations, or, you know, coach them through it and then let them ultimately make the decision. Like when I first started getting coaching calls, we addressed one area of my business that I had an opportunity for growth in. It was amazing how just once a month connecting with my business analyst and her telling me, you know, look, I see that you did improve in that area. Like it's such a good feeling to hear from someone who's looking at your numbers, looking at your data, to hear them say, oh, wow, I see improvement in this area. It's such a rewarding feeling. And your up and coming leaders, your leaders are going to feel that way as well. So it's super important to set those goals, talk to them about solutions, talk to them about things that they can actually put into action within their team, within their personal business to help them achieve those things. They're really, really rewarding conversations. And make sure that you consistently reconnect monthly. And I always offer my leaders as well, I say, hey, if you're feeling overwhelmed with monthly calls, we can always do bi-monthly or quarterly. So they know that if they feel like once a month isn't really needed, we can cut back to quarterly or bi-monthly. So have that flexibility and make sure they know that this is for them. And if they feel like, hey, I'm good, like they can tell us they're good. So that's really, in a nutshell, how I kind of run my coaching calls, who I offer my coaching calls to, and really the goal of each coaching call. So again, going back to what Edie said, this is why it's so important to know their why. Like every single person that I do a coaching call with, I know exactly what they want from their business. I know exactly how much money they want to make per month. I know exactly what level of the incentive trip they want to earn. Because if I know what they want, then I can help keep them accountable and help them with strategic goal setting and things like that to get them there. So that is how I do coaching calls. And I forgot, girls, I don't know if any of you are eligible, my God, if any of you are able to check the chat and see if there's any questions or anything. Edie, did you have something you wanted to add?
I do. One of the things that I want to add to what Katie is saying is that for me, about 3 years ago, I guess, it was 3 years ago, because it was a year before I promoted to star director. I had been doing monthly calls, and I have a lot of people that will ask me, do you prefer monthly calls or do you prefer one-on-one coaching calls? And I was doing a Monday night call every week for 3 years I was doing it. And I had some coaching with Jason Harwood, and he suggested that I change or at least start offering some one-on-one coaching. The change that it made in my business and in their business was huge. And the biggest proponent to that is that when you do a team call, I'm not saying that team calls are bad. but just understand that they're not focusing on everybody's needs. So, one Monday I would focus on recruiting. Well, what if somebody is a recruiting rock star? They're not going to get a call that week. I'd focus on hostess coaching, or I'd booking parties, or we'd do a booking blitz or whatever. Yes, there are people that can use little tidbits every now and then, but it wasn't specifically focusing on somebody's problem. And the one-on-one calls were so advantageous, because if somebody said, you know what, I really am good at recruiting, but I don't know what to do at an event. Like, should I stand behind the table? Should I stand in front of the table? So now I could focus all of my intention on something that was specific to that person to help them with what their business is producing for them, or potential producing for them. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that the difference between a team call versus a one-on-one coaching call can be actually pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I've only been doing it, like I said, for like 6 months, but I've seen big changes in the number of promotions within my front line to ranks like star, superstar, and director. It really has made a big impact, and I think it's creating more of a sense of an accountability. It's just creating more of a business mindset. And like they told us at Summit, relationships plus results equals retention. It's not relationships equals retention. It's not results equals retention. You have to have both. And so it's trying to ensure that you're having both of those things with your downline. And coaching calls or business analysis calls, or whatever you want to call it, is really a great way to do that. And okay, so next we are going to go to, let's go to Christina next. Actually, I don't see her. Maybe she's not ready. Let's go to Jamie next. Jamie's going to talk about recognition.
Sorry, I was just checking the chat. No questions at this point, by the way.
Thank you for checking the chat. You little chat checker.
I'm a chatty person. Okay, so I want to talk about actually two different things, recognition and incentives, because a lot of people think those are the same thing, and they're actually very, very different. So let's start with recognition first. And these are my definitions. To me, recognition is noticing things that people have already done. So that is typically things that we can check on reports, like top PRV or recruiting or growth, PRV month over month. So that is recognition. There are some super, super fun and insanely affordable ways to do recognition. So let's start first of all with free, because if you have a baby team, you're not making bank yet, and you don't have a lot of extra money, and you don't want to spend all the money that you're making giving it away to your team members. So there are awesome ways to do free recognition, especially with social media. Who doesn't love to have their name blasted out there for doing a good job? So you can do this through Instagram. You can do it through Snapchat. You can do it on Facebook. If you have a downline that is working their business big time on Facebook, it is so powerful to just give them recognition, blast it out, make a cool graphic for all their customers to see that, gosh, Tammy did an awesome job this month. I just want you to know what an awesome consultant you guys have when you use Tammy. So that's huge. It's going to, pump her up a little bit, and it might even gain her a couple customers of people that have been sitting on the fence thinking about should they order or should they not. And they're going to see that on her wall, and they're going to go, oh, well, gosh, she's doing really well. Maybe I should order from her. So that's a great way to do free recognition. So now let's talk about minimal expense recognition. And my favorite minimal expense recognition is just little note cards or things in the mail. Okay, so disclaimer, I was an elementary school teacher, and I kind of am still an elementary school teacher, because things like this bring me extreme joy. Do you see this? It's like a little kid teacher certificate, but I get these in the dollar section at Target, at the first of the school year. But if you've missed that, you can go to your area teacher store. Like we've had Apple Tree here in Tulsa. They just closed. Super sad. Mardell, different stores like that. Any teacher store. And you can get these recognition certificates. They have tons that are like superstar stuff too. But I love this because I can put on there, you know, their name, the date, reason. So it gives me a reason to give them a shout out. So I don't have to just stick with you were the highest PRV, you were the, you know, the most recruits, which we can have postcards made for those, which is cheap. But this is fun because you can write whatever you want in there. Now this is just a little thin piece of paper. I can fold it in half, pop it in a regular business envelope, and it's costing me just a regular stamp. Super, super cheap because I got, let's see, there were 24 in this package for $1. And then it's just costing me a stamp to mail it. Okay, so that's super duper duper cheap. Just a step up is note cards. And I am a note card junkie. So I just pulled a couple here. Again, dollar section at Target. So these are just blank ones. So I can, you know, take my Sharpie and write on there, you're a Cincy rock star. So proud of you. I can write whatever I want on this thing. Dollar section at Michael's. Oh, excuse me, these were $1.50. I really went big bucks on these. $1.50 for those. And again, just regular stamps. Now, here's something fun that I like to do, and some people hate me for it, and some people love me for it. Do you guys see this?
Is that confetti?
It's confetti.
I hate you for it.
I know a lot of people hate me for it, but gosh darn it, confetti's fun to me. And confetti means a party.
It's so fun.
Dawn is cringing.
I had a bad confetti experience.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not mean enough to do glitter because glitter never goes away. But these are at least big enough chunks. And see, I've mixed in like star confetti and just gold confetti. So I keep a little jar on my desk and my cards get a little sprinkling of confetti in them.
You're so cute.
Here's
Amy.
a little public
So
service,
cute.
a little public service announcement. Don't open your mail from Jamie
In the car?
bed. No, in bed. Confetti in your panties.
Yeah, I had one of my downline that got upset because it got all over a new car too. But okay, but let me show you. I kind of don't want to show these because I haven't mailed them out yet, but they're so stinking cute. I have to show you because I got these for 20 cents a package at Michael's. And how perfect are these for this month? It is pumpkin pie.
Oh.
So those are my cards. I actually just finished them up, so they're going to pop in the mail tomorrow to my top PRV and my top recruiters. So here is my big shebang, lots of money recognition. And here's the thing, it ain't lots of money because I'm cheap. If you guys have not heard of AliExpress.com, you need to look it up because it's the coolest thing ever. So it is like a Chinese Amazon.
Will you spell it for them? Because it's not necessarily spelled like you think.
ALI Express.com. So it's like a Chinese Amazon. So that means two different things. It means super duper duper cheap, but it also means it literally comes over on a slow boat from China. So don't expect to order these things and get them quick, okay? So we've all heard of a certain jewelry company that has floating lockets, right? And they're like, I don't know, expensive in my opinion, like $40 for a necklace. But this looks super duper similar. And I hate to tell my secrets because some of my downline are watching this, but I pay $1.50-ish for these. And they come with a chain. And then you get the little floating lockets. Excuse all my rattling if you're hearing my plastic bags. I just want to show you guys this. So, you know, it's all these little doodads that you can pop in the mail and send to them. Like, this is a heart that says dream. I know you guys probably can't see that. But I'm telling you, these are like pennies. Like maybe 10 cents for an expensive one. So here is my year-long recognition that I do with my team. They need to either do $500 PRV in a month or get a recruit and they get their locket. The first time that they do one of those, they get their locket and their first charm from me. So that's the most expensive part, because that's cost me $1.50 plus my 10-cent charm. But it does cost a little more to mail this because it's a little bit fatter. And I say a little bit more, it's like, I don't know, $2.50. So we're still talking under $5. So then for the rest of the year, when they achieve one of those things each month, all I have to do is get one of these little trinket charms, and I write a card out and I tape that inside the card and I mail it to them, and it's a regular stamp. So they have the potential of earning 2 charms every month, because they can get a charm if they have 500 PRV or more, and they can get another charm if they get 1 or more recruits. Now, you could even alter this a little more. I have one of my downline directors that they get a special charm. Hang on, Edie. They get a special charm if they're like in the top 10, or they get a charm for every single recruit they get. So you can alter it however you want. What's up, chick?
How do you track it?
I have a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So because I don't want them to get 2 of the same charm.
Yeah.
My spreadsheet is super simple. On the left side are their names, and I sort them alphabetically. On the top, I list all the charms that I have. And then down in the chart, I just put the number of the month. So if they earned it in January, a number 1, and then I put either a $ if it was for PRV or an R if it was for a recruit. So here's what's really cool about that spreadsheet too, Edie, is I can track who's killing it every month. If I look at their name and like their whole thing's full of charms, like at the end of the year, they deserve a big kudos from me, okay? But you know, if they've only gotten 1 or 2 charms, great for them. They got a necklace and some fun charms in it, and I'm good with that. But it kind of, doing this helps me to know who's rocking their business. I wanted to backtrack a little bit because I found these at Walmart, and they say, hello, superstar, and they're just a composition notebook. So when I find things like that, I just buy them. And I don't even know, somebody's going to get this in the mail because I think they're a superstar and they deserve a little kudos. So that's for recognition. Now let's talk about incentives. Incentive is when you look at what you want to achieve and you give them a challenge to meet, and they might get a reward or something. For instance, if you want your team PRV to grow, you need to decide what you're going to do to make your team PRV to grow. So perhaps you want each person to gain 10 new customers, because that'll help your team PRV grow. So you challenge your downline to do things that will gain them new customers. So for instance, that might be passing out samples. You want to challenge them to pass out samples. And then really there's no way for us to track this as far as reports go. You just have to kind of do honesty system, or even just have them blast out a picture of them handing, you know, a selfie of them handing a sample or something like that. But then again, you're going to reward them for doing that behavior. Your rewards, again, you can go from freebie shout outs online to a fun card full of confetti to a small prize. You know, dollar sections are my best friend. My best friend. Anything star, I'm snagging it up in the dollar section. And with the holidays right now, there's super cool stuff with stars all over. 4th of July is a great time to stock up on star stuff. I'm buying the crap out of Target dollar store stuff at 4th of July and just tucking it back for all year. Keep in mind that you want things that are easy to mail and that are super light, because you need to figure your postage into that. So you want to recognize them for things they've already done, but also incentivize them on things that you want them to do. Now, one thing about incentives is you can't incentivize them getting a recruit, because that's really out of their hands. Them getting a recruit is out of their hands. However, them having a certain number of recruiting conversations is something that they can control. You can't incentivize them for getting 500 PRV, but you can incentivize them for doing customer follow-up, or for passing out samples, or for booking a party. So look at what you want them to do. Do you want your team to grow? You need new team members. So figure out what it is that they need to do to get those new recruits. Is it passing out recruiting packets? Is it having those recruiting conversations? Is it doing a certain post on Facebook? Like I did one today. Tell me your favorite thing about your job and something you hate about your job. And it just gave me an opening conversation point for some people that replied. So, something as easy as putting a post like that out on Facebook. Those are things that you can incentivize because they're tasks that they can do that are within their control. Does that make sense?
That does.
That was awesome, Jamie.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I love your little locket idea. And I honestly had forgotten about AliExpress. I haven't been on their website in forever. I'm glad you reminded me of that. That website is amazing. And I love the little locket idea.
I might have a little addiction to AliExpress.
I went and got right over there on the floor. I was in Michael's the other day and I saw those cards that you had showed before, the box of cards. They were on sale like you had talked about. I was like, it's Jamie's cards.
Like $5.99 or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the fun thing with AliExpress. So you order these things and they take so freaking long to get to you that you forget you ordered them. And then when they show up at your house, it's like Christmas because you forgot you ordered it.
That's awesome.
Love it. Edie, is that from AliExpress? Or you're just showing me good job?
Oh, those must be from AliExpress.
These are from a dollar store.
Dollar store, yeah.
They're like little caution teepee things.
Yeah.
Aren't those funny?
I'm telling you, dollar section and dollar store are
That
like
and my hashtags.
Oh, that's cute.
cute.
Oh,
Love sending stuff like that.
I just realized we are running so late. It is 9:47 and we still
People
have
love us,
Dawn
though.
and Christina.
I'll just be real short because I want to hear what Christina has to say. So you
Who
want to
wants
do
to
me
go
next?
first? Who wants to go first, Dawn or Christina?
I'll go first. I do.
No. Me. I want you to do half mine because you wanted to do it today anyway.
What was yours
Okay.
again?
Being the engine.
In front, being the engine and inspiring.
All right,
And
Dawn, you go first.
I'll make
Sorry,
it
Christina.
super
I
short.
love you too.
No, I love Christina, but I want to hear her stuff and leave on a positive note because really leading from the front or being the engine is not that complicated, I don't think. You just try to do the things that you would hope that your team would also be inspired to do. Wearing a branded shirt gets people to say, oh, you have Scentsy? And you're like, yes. Making little samples and passing them out. Trying to be upbeat, posting on social media what you're warming today. There's so many different ways that you can just show that you are loving your Scentsy business and sharing it. I'm not talking being pushy and being salesy or spammy, but just, hey, I'm melting, and say whatever. Like right now I'm melting German chocolate cake. And that is like pretty darn good. It's not a current fragrance, but for my customers who live near me, I will give you a sliver. But there's just all kinds of ways that you can lead by example and hope that they see that you're happy doing that and sharing that, and maybe they will follow. So that's really, really teeny because I wanted to hear what Christina has to say. So go next.
Dawn, I think you just copped out. I love you. I'm just kidding. You're just
Well,
like,
no,
I'm going to
because-
say a few sentences because
Well, because
I'm
we were
just
talking
kidding.
about this morning, and I know you also wanted to talk a little bit about that too. And all day long, I thought of all these things that I could say, and then I looked at the time, and I'm like, oh crap, I want to hear about environment, and Christina will have some ideas, and so just let us have
I
it.
love you. I love you. No, yeah, leading from the front is really important to me, and I think it goes along with your team environment and things like that. And I'm, you know what, as far as environment goes, I've been like stewing on some things, but I can't really figure out if I'm supposed to be talking about like our team's environment or just creating like a leadership environment that helps your leaders grow. So I think it's kind of twofold. I think it's kind of hand in hand. It starts from, the broadness of your team environment and kind of trickles into your leadership environment. But it starts from leading from the front. I have come to Jesus moments a lot with my girls about leading from the front, because so goes the leader, goes the team, period. I don't think there's any exceptions to that. Yes, there is actually. I am one, but it's the norm. So there are exceptions, but it is the rule. I feel like, if that makes sense. You're going to have some people who are just going to be amazing, whether you helped them do it or not. But I feel like if you want consistent action out of, you've got 20 people, it's like, what is it? 20% of your team is doing 80% of the sales. 20% of them are doing 0%. And then all of that middle stuff is your beef. Like, that's the meat of your business, is everyone right there in the middle. That's the ones who, they fill in the gaps between your cancellations and your rock stars. And they're like super, super important. So I always say, those are my super 60, and my super 60%. That's what my team culture is for. It's for the people that I may not notice daily. They're not the ones that when I run reports I see. But they're the ones who are passing out samples. They're the ones who are having a party a month. They're the ones who aren't quite hitting 500 PRV, but they're not hitting 0. They're not up for cancellation every 3 months. They're working their businesses, but they're not working big businesses, if that makes sense. So I like to try to make sure that those people are feeling plugged in to our team. And I feel like the example has to be set for them. And goodness gracious, I'm trying not to go 1,000 different directions right now, because I feel like this is such a loaded topic. But yeah, leading from the front, if you're not doing it, you can't expect your team to. You can be surprised by your team doing it, but you can't expect them to. You can't expect your team to have $2,000 months if you're not pushing for a $2,000 month. If you're waiting to the end of the month to put 500 in, guess what your team is going to do every month? They're going to wait to the end of the month to put 500 in. OMG, everyone's frozen. Am I frozen? Can anyone see me?
No, I can see you. You look good.
Are you guys okay? Good. It looks like everyone's frozen. You're either frozen or you're just staring at me because I'm so wise.
Am I frozen?
Can't even blink. Nope, Dawn's not frozen anymore. Everyone's just staring at me, and because I'm just so amazing.
Christina, you do such a good job. Like, you've talked before about like your how you have you focus a lot on mantras, and you have an incredible team culture. Like, talk about that. Talk about things you do to create that.
I wrote that down. We are very big on positivity. I get called the positivity police a lot. I'm a deleter. We don't allow unhappy emoticons in the group, period. Like, whatsoever. I will delete your comment if it has a sad face. You can find a way to not make a sad face. I don't care if you say it. Don't put the emoji. No sad face emojis, because they just make everyone sad, even if the whole post wasn't sad. Ending it that way or putting one in there just is about the unhappy emoji, but I swear everyone's eyes are going to go to that faster than they'll go to a happy one. So we delete them because they just don't need attention. I'm really, 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 really passionate about that. So I was thinking, because Edie, I learned about team mantras from Edie, actually. She completely changed my entire business and life way back early in my business. She's my hero. And so I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I love alliteration. Does anyone else love alliteration? Like, if it doesn't start with the same letter, it's not a real thing. That's how I feel about my life. So if I think of mantras, they have to be all the same first letter. So I was thinking, I was like, I know we do a lot of things with positivity and stuff like that. And our main mantra for my team, and I feel like I've kind of lost my grip on like mantraing with my team recently. We got really big really fast in the last couple of years. But a couple Christmases ago, we all kind of really discussed our mantra, and it was burn your boats, take the stairs, and be a buffalo. It was, those are the things our team does. We are a buffalo, we burn our boats, and we take the stairs. We do the hard stuff. We get rid of our excuses and our plan Bs. We get rid of them. and we are buffalo. So we head into our problems, head first. We jump right into them, get them done with, and then we move along. So, but I was thinking while everyone was talking, I was like, I want to see if I can get my entire team culture wrapped up using only P's. Why P's? Because P starts with positivity, right? So I made a new team mantra while everyone was talking. If anyone saw my ice cream focus face, that was because I was making up a new team mantra. And if anybody needs help making mantras for their teams, steal mine. Get your pen and paper and steal mine. It starts with P's. It's easy. You're not going to be able to memorize it, though, because it's really long. But I feel like I got every single thing that I feel like my team stands for and that we are very, very passionate about on my team, all wrapped up using the letter P. It's Sesame Street, y'all. Are you ready? So this is what my team stands for, and this is what we try to achieve together in our businesses and with each other. And I feel like the culture of our team helps retention because everyone feels like they understand the expectations of the team. And I feel like I could do a better job at setting the expectation lately. But I am excited to have this written down. But this is what my team stands for: promoting positivity, peacefulness, and prosperous purpose-driven passion by practicing and praising personal progress, parties, promotions, and powerful productivity. That is my team. Let's say that's our mission statement. So I feel like those are things that we do constantly. We are always positive. I make sure that everyone understands that it's okay to cheer people on, even if you feel really sucky about your own business, and that it does more for you to congratulate someone when you're feeling blue than it does to actually sit there and wallow about it. So if you can find people to encourage when you're not feeling very inspiring yourself, it's putting really good energy out there from bad energy and turning it all around. I feel like, every single situation that we have creates energy. If we are negative, it's creating energy. If we're positive, it's creating energy. Everything has energy and it spreads. And then you can you can use that energy to do anything you want with. Like, it doesn't matter if you have fats or carbs in the morning, you're going to get energy from it. But fats is better energy than carbs, but you're still going to go crazy and be a nuthead. But yeah, it's just what you do with it. You can either, I don't know where I'm going with that, but you can fuel your actions anyway. So you can be really grumpy and use that energy to make a change, to make a difference, to move forward with your business or put something awesome into someone's life. You can be like, you know what? I just had a really freaking terrible party. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to figure out what went wrong, and I'm going to teach somebody, how to not make that mistake. I'm going to tell everyone what I learned from this, and I'm going to encourage them to keep going in their bad situations versus going to my team page and ranting about this crappy party I had. Like, is that doing anyone any good?
Yes.
No. Venting is useless, okay? I mean, farting makes you feel good, but everyone hates you for it. So don't. Like, people coming into my team page and posting negativity is like them walking to a room and farting and going, I was feeling really gassy and I felt like everyone needed to experience it. No, that's just rude.
I think that's one of my favorite things I have ever heard.
Gosh, but you know what? It's true.
It is so true. That's like the best analogy ever.
Yeah. Negative posts are just farts, okay? And nobody likes your farts.
I always say don't pee in my pool, like Orville
Right?
says, but I think I'm going to say don't fart in here.
It's serious because it
Exactly.
spreads. It spreads and it makes people grumpy.
And nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, it's like posting something negative and because you're just trying to see if anyone feels the same way you do. Is that helping anyone be less gassy? No, it's just making the whole place stinky. So I don't let
no
people
group
do that in
gas.
my team
There's
page.
your alliteration.
No,
group gas.
we do not sit around and fart together. We clinch like ladies, okay? No, here's what we do. You guys, oh my gosh, people are turning this off right now. Are we losing viewers?
We just went from 300 viewers to 3. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. No, but it's not productive. It's not helping anybody fix their problems. But having a bad experience, figuring out what the positive part of that could be. I do this with my son, and it drives me nuts sometimes because he is adorable and 6. And so I was like, if I do this with my team page, I can totally do this with my kids. So like, we'll do things like he'll go to McDonald's and they'll give him a girl toy on accident. And he'll be really, really upset. I mean, kids and toys, that's huge, right? You don't want a freaking Hello Kitty mirror comb when you're a boy. What are you going to do with it? So I'm like, okay, that's a bummer. But what's a good thing that happened? Well, I did get to eat McDonald's. So I guess that's good. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Why is it good that you got to eat McDonald's? Because a lot of kids' parents don't let them have McDonald's. I'm like, yeah, because they're good parents. But yeah, you're right. You're right. Good job. I'm glad that you got that. So we always turn things around, but sometimes he'll be really snarky and he'll be like, Mom, I really wanted a piece of candy. But I guess it's just good that I'll have some more for later when I ask you for a piece of candy again. Or like just stupid things like where he's like trying to turn it around positively, but he's still like passive aggressive about it. But we're getting there. So it's just really important to learn how to flip things around. It's going to make you feel really good, even if it's really freaking awkward at first. It's going to feel yucky and it's going to feel bad and it's going to feel very foreign. If you're sitting there and you're like, let me think of something happy about this crappy situation. It feels weird at first, but then it gets easier. If you practice it, it becomes second nature and people want to know what you are eating. And like, they just can't figure out you. They can't figure you out. They can't figure out why you're so happy all the time. And it's not that you're happy all the time. You just understand what's important. And I feel like if you've ever looked for a way to prioritize your life, start thinking about everything happily, and nothing's that big of a deal. I feel like if we I don't know. So I always tell my team, what we do is we vent up. If we really have to get it out, we go straight to our sponsor or our director. We get it out once and we leave it right there. And then if we we encourage side to side. So we make sure that we are constantly encouraging people that we don't get paid on and they don't get paid on us. Finding ways to lift people up at no gain for us. So we are really big on our team page about making sure we're welcoming new people, even if they're not our new people. We make sure that if somebody says that I don't even care if they said, I made samples today, you encourage them and like get excited that they, that's progress in their business. That's productivity. Those are things that we cheer on. It may not be huge. It may not be a promotion. It may not be a big party, but it was progress and they were working their business, and that's exciting. That's more than 20% of your team can even say about themselves. They're not working their businesses. So when someone is, we get excited. And then parties, we cheer them on, we get excited, we ask them for tips, even if we don't need any tips, but if they have something to offer is just really important on our team. And just making sure that questions don't go unanswered. Another thing we do is we nurture leaders on our team. My biggest thing is we teach people to fish. We don't feed them. So I think one thing that's probably honestly developed most of my leaders on my team is we don't give answers in our group. You can ask all the questions you want, and we are totally here to help you find that answer. But we don't give them to people. We don't give anyone the answer. I think that that's really helped my team. And we also follow a really strict chain of communication. So if I have somebody message me who might be like a 7th generation, I add their director to the conversation. And I'm like, hey, so-and-so messaged me this question. She just may not have known how to get a hold of you. And I really wanted her to get connected with you. I know that you are working on becoming an amazing leader and you've got promotions, you're looking for your next promotion. And I know that every chance we get to lead our teams helps, put another building block in that or whatever. I don't say it that cheesy, but that's just really the reason I do it. I always say we're nurturing leaders on our team. So I don't care if you and your sponsor signed up the same day and neither of you know the answer. I'm still going to add her to the message and we're going to let her practice leading. So I always make sure that we are following chain of communication and it goes right up the line. If they can't get hold of all 7 people between me and them or something crazy like that, that's fine. Or if there's really a conflict, we try to work it out. And if it can't be worked out, we make sure that gets whatever, but not many conflicts can't be worked out. I've seen a few that can't, but usually it's just a miscommunication somewhere, or somebody felt like they were being whatever. So I'm really, really strict on the chain of communication. If somebody messages me, or if somebody is asking a question in the group, I will tag their sponsor and be like, you know what? I know so-and-so is aiming for a star consultant promotion, and she's super excited to lead her team. So I just wanted to tag her here so she knows you guys are asking questions, because it's awesome that you're working your businesses, etc. So we are very big on building leaders on our team by making sure that anyone who has a team gets the chance to lead them, and that people don't just go straight for the top. Because I feel like as a superstar director, people are like, well, you must know it all, I'll just go straight to you. Because they don't want to waste their time trying to find somebody who knows the answer. The funny thing is, they get to me and I make sure that they go back down to their sponsor and we all kind of talk. And it's not because I don't want to help them, it's because my MO is developing their sponsor and helping them, because I know that what their why is. Just like Edie said, you know their why. When Katie says, you know their why, you know why they're working their business, what they want out of it. Especially somebody who is aiming for a director promotion, you want to give them every single opportunity to lead their teams as you can. So I'm always making sure that the chain of command is kind of followed. I don't mean command, but chain of communication, because we don't command each other. We're not each other's bosses. I'm not your mom. No command chains whatsoever. It's just chain of communication. It's our leadership ladder, or whatever we want to call it. So if I want my alliteration, it's our leadership ladder. So yeah. So either way, blah, blah, blah. I ate a lot of ice cream. My brain's feeling it.
That was awesome, Christina. I think that was perfect. Exactly what.
I hope there's some nuggets in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty proud of you and all your positivity stuff, Christina.
I really.
That's all.
I like.
That's all you, man.
Your
Hear that? She said she's pretty proud of you.
She's pretty proud of the positivity. It's my piece.
That was really good, Christina. Thank you.
All right. Well, that wraps things up for us tonight, talking about working with, mentoring your team, your frontline. We hope that you walked away tonight with a bunch of little nuggets, and we hope that you will join us next time. Anybody look at the date for next month?
I can look at it right
December
now.
5th. Right. So mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, December 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be back for another Glow show. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but a little behind the scenes fact, we alternate who's hosting. So that's why you'll notice sometimes different ones are leading. And we actually create the topic that we want to talk about, for the show that night. So that's why you're seeing a lot of diversity in the topics and things like that, because we come up with what we feel inspired to talk about and, what we hope you guys will enjoy. So it's always nice to get feedback from you guys on things that you'd love to hear videos about, as well as we make decisions on future Glow shows on what to talk about. We want to talk about things that are relevant for you and helpful for you. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's show. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we hope that you have a wonderful, productive, super successful November, and let's go rock this sale we've got on Wednesday.
Yeah. And let's practice positivity.
Yeah. No farting in the team pages.
Here's my big tip for sales. Every single item Scentsy sells during a sale is the hottest toy of the season. People should be excited if they get a hold of it, and not expectant to. They should just be, it's just the hustle and bustle that's the fun. And sometimes it's not even just acquiring the item you were dying to get. It's just the experience and the fun.
The energy.
And the energy is just great. Keep it positive. Be proactive. Have solutions for your problems before you approach people, and don't make anything too big of a deal. I've never had a mad or sad or grumpy customer, because I just don't let them be mad or sad. I don't set any expectations. I make sure they understand the fun of the situation, how excited we are, and that we just do our best to get what we can, and that workstation stuff or website issues are just part of the fun. It's just a bunch of people lining up out of Target for Black Friday, and sometimes it's the experience that's the fun part, and it's not always what you got when you go inside. So either way, be proactive, be positive, set the tone on your team pages today, and get people excited about it. Just let them know that any grumpy stuff isn't allowed, and you're gonna find that everything goes really smooth. I promise. Even if things don't go smooth, they're gonna go smooth.
Exactly.
Perfection. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.